say A, and that's your final answer?
There's a tremendous amount of hypocrisy going on where we are locking up nonviolent protesters at the Capitol from January 6th are still in jail months and months later, while many violent criminals have been let loose on our streets. And I recently reported in Other Saving America that in Portland, Oregon, over half of the people arrested for burning down federal buildings, for causing significant harm, have been released without charges. And yet we have an 18-year-old high school senior. We have a 70-year-old Virginia farmer with no criminal record. These people are locked up under conditions that would be well in line with the old days of Soviet Russia and the current days of CCP concentration camps. Yes, folks, we are not honoring the American tradition of justice, equal justice for all. So what are we doing about this? Well, part of the excuse is that most of the judges in DC have been appointed in the liberal direction and are listening to the left-leaning Department of Justice. I don't care about that explanation. I care about the fact that we have a responsibility, especially at the federal justice level, to have equal justice across the United States. If a nonviolent offender in Portland is released on their own recognizance, a nonviolent offender from January 6th in Washington, D.C. needs to be released immediately on their own recognizance. I'm not forgiving any crimes. People who went into the Capitol without permission were at a minimum trespassers. They may have violated other federal statutes. That needs to be prosecuted, but we need to be consistent. If people burn down a federal building or attempted to burn down a federal building in Portland, Oregon, or Seattle or Minneapolis, they need to be administered the same level of criminal justice. This is not complicated. Interesting little sidelight on this is that the failed mayor of Houston, Sly Turner, and some of his other buddies of failed American cities have risen up in the last couple of days and said, oh my goodness, we've got to pass some laws against guns. Of course, notwithstanding the fact that virtually all of the laws that get passed like this are violations of the Second Amendment, don't clear the appellate courts, much less the Supreme Court. And they fail to focus on a fundamental issue. During the last 18 months, the United States has dumped a ridiculous number of criminals, many of whom were murderers, rapists, and armed robbers, onto the community. And these folks are saying, well, gee, if we get a get out of jail free card and we get to do all these bad things, we can just keep on doing those bad things. Why not? So I call on these mayors to get smart, stop blaming guns, stop blaming others. Interestingly, Sly did a presentation against Sly Turner from Houston, did a newscast about a week ago, news press conference, and said, it isn't his fault. Well, guess what, buddy? If you're in charge of one of the largest cities in America and the crime is running out of control, it's your fault. You need to tell the people that work for you to get to work, arrest people, put them in jail, and at least require them to pay bond to get out of jail. So hopefully they'll show up. Start doing your job, American mayors, and I think the American people will feel safer.